Two. All right, we are live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our International Women's Celebration Day. Um, Calling in live from Hawaii. This is the time right now. It's midnight. It's kind of fun. But I know we have a bunch of people calling in from all around the world, basically. And so this is going to be a really exciting conversation across the globe for us. I know a couple people are probably streaming in right now, taking some time to log in. So I'm gonna give us maybe like a couple minutes to have people slowly come in. I'm checking the chat to see if we got people commenting where they're from, kind of what time it is where you're calling in from. Super exciting time. I almost feel like I should have like background music or something. I'd sing, but I'm not a good singer and I don't want to ruin anyone's day with my sad tunes. Awesome. Just giving folks a couple of minutes to sign in. Yay, Rebecca! Love to see you on the chat and very excited to talk to you later today. Got some fun questions headed your way about remote work and culture, so super cool to see you online. Wondering to see if anyone else is kind of calling in. I know we got a long event, and so there's plenty of time for people to kind of pop in and out. Yay! Hello, Caroline. Nice to see you. Happy Celebration Day indeed. Excited to kind of celebrate women's history. Hello, Bucky. Oh, look at all the fun people coming in. Yay! Fun people from London. Wish I was there. That sounds fun. I have a family member out in London. Hopefully she signs into this event as well. Awesome. Cool. 3 minutes has passed, and so I'm sure some people are still logging in, but I'll go ahead and kick off the event. I want to say welcome to everyone near and far to our International Women's Day celebration. In case you haven't met me, my name is May. I'm a contract designer, but I'm also a public ambassador for the WID Network, and I'm super stoked to be hosting today's event. I want to thank everyone who showed up today or showing up today. Super fun fact, we actually had to extend our available tickets and so many folks were like interested in attending. So really cool to see that we have that kind of engagement in our community. Definitely feel free to say hello in the chat, keep kind of interacting with one another because we're going to make some amazing connections today. We have a pretty jam-packed event, so I hope everyone is just as excited as me to hear from a handful of our speakers on some really engaging topics. So without further ado, I want to introduce our first keynote around the importance of resilience in today's digital world. This is Nikki McKenna, CEO at WSI Digital Advisors, on embracing digital and staying human. And as a quick note, it's just as this is a pre-recording, so I'm just going to have our team member kind of pop it up and let them take it away.
Hi, I'm Nikki McKenna from WSI Digital Advisors, and I'm thrilled to be here today, well, recorded digitally at least. Sorry I can't be with you live to answer your questions, but please do just drop your questions or comments in the chat as we go along. They'll find their way to me afterwards for a response. I thought I'd start by telling you a little bit about me. I was brought up in London and started my career as a management trainee at Harrods. I love finding out how people tick and quickly moved up through the retail ranks into managerial roles and then leadership roles and ultimately consulting roles. My first e-commerce experience was in the early noughties when e-commerce stores were simply treated like virtual shops. It was exciting to be part of the e-commerce revolution and a brilliant experience to be part of the growth story into e-commerce for some fantastic brands like the ones you can see on the screen. Fast forward to today, I now own a digital marketing consultancy and agency in West London where we look after over 40 clients. Every day, we use our experiences in the business world to guide our clients through the maze that is digital marketing and to help them find solutions to their business goals. So enough about me, and let's talk about some of the skills that I believe are needed for success in the business of digital. In a world obsessed with data and codes, we always say that it's the human element that makes all the difference. It's this belief that's behind our company motto, embrace digital, stay human. Behind every 404 error message, there's a human figuring out how to code a more creative page found solution. So today I'm going to take a look at why being super skilled in digital doesn't mean you can ditch the human in you. We're going to talk about the 3 skills that I believe are needed to be a success in this industry: curiosity, agility, and resilience. The soft skills playlist that will help you fine-tune your career in digital and design. Because let's face it, we're navigating in a world where TikTok trends last longer than some tech startups. So staying relevant isn't just about keeping up with the latest JavaScript framework or design tool. It's about being humanly awesome at adapting, learning, and bouncing back. Now, I'd like you to think of the cleverest person that you know. Got somebody in mind? I've picked Rachel Riley from Countdown. Okay, now think of that person. Do you think that they know everything? Of course they don't, but I'll bet that they are insatiably curious. Imagine curiosity as your internal search engine, always on, always questioning. It's what drives you to explore beyond the first page of Google results or to ask what if when faced with a design challenge. Think about when someone came up with the idea to make a phone that could respond to your touch. It was curiosity that was behind that. And it's the same curiosity that's leading women in digital to create apps and solutions that make our lives better one swipe at a time. Being curious doesn't mean knowing everything though. Digital is a very broad topic, so it's easy to get distracted with shiny object syndrome, the latest piece of new tech that developers and trade press are talking about. So be curious about solutions that matter to your customers, the business that you work in, and you in your career, rather than spreading your knowledge too thin and ultimately becoming an expert in nothing. Obviously, artificial intelligence is the hot topic at the moment. Should you be curious about it? Absolutely. Should you be experimenting with some of the tools? Definitely. Do you need to know all about every last app that's new on the market? I doubt it. Digital is a world where knowing a little about a lot is a pretty good starting position. But as you grow, following your curiosity into what fascinates you is how you'll develop your niche and your business will start to take off. At WSI Digital Advisors, each year we reflect on where we can add the most value to our customers, which could be an existing service or a new one that we've been discovering. We then adapt our strategies to focus deeper in on these particular areas. So keep your personal search engine running, attend webinars that sound weirdly fascinating, join online forums, or simply mess around with new software just for the thrill of it. Your next aha moment might be just one curious click away. Now, I'd like you to reflect on yourself for a moment. Are you a planner or an advocate of just in time? In our business, I'm the planner and my business partner is the just in time person. So whilst I can appreciate how frustrating your opposite type can be, I also know there's no right or wrong answer to this question. The real skill is knowing what to plan and when to keep your options open. This is agility. Think of agility as the secret sauce behind every successful digital campaign that adapted overnight, or the design project that evolved faster than you can say the word iteration. It's what keeps you and your work fresh and relevant. Embracing new challenges and learning from them builds agility. So, start by saying yes to new projects, even if they scare you a bit or a lot. Dive into new learning skills, even if they're out of your comfort zone. And remember, being agile also means it's okay to say no. Prioritizing tasks that truly matter allows you to maintain focus and effectiveness. In my corporate career, I had a reputation for being a bit of a serial volunteer. This presented me with fresh new challenges and opened up lots of learning opportunities for me as I balanced project work alongside my day job. The insights I gained helped me understand much more context around what I was doing and helped me to adapt as changes inevitably happened in the business. As an example, and at the risk of sounding old, I remember when we were bought our first personal computer at Miss Selfridge. And yes, computers did look like this back then, and my team did look like that too. We had one computer between a team of 80 of us. Now, can you imagine? I practiced day and night to learn how to use it, which opened up the doors for me to design the bulk of the business processes that the team went on to use as the business grew, and we invested in more computerization. Did I get all the new processes right first time? Of course I didn't. But by working with the team, I could develop and evolve the standing operating models so that they became increasingly efficient over time. So agility comes from doing, learning, and occasionally failing. Now, I'd like you to think about your education and career so far. Has it all been plain sailing? Of course not. We all have periods in our careers when we encounter setbacks. We can't be on our A game all of the time. And this is where resilience really matters. Think of resilience as your comeback story. It's about facing setbacks head on and saying, thank you, next, with your best levels of poise and determination. Resilience is what allows us to remain empathetic, creative, and genuinely connected to our colleagues, our clients, and their audiences, despite the relentless pace of change in our industry and life around us. It's the power behind every project that seemed doomed but turned around by sheer grit. It's the energy that fuels long nights, tight deadlines, and the courage to present bold ideas to skeptical audiences. And I have plenty of experience of all of those, so I have the scars. So, how do you cultivate resilience? Start by building a support squad of mentors, peers, and inspirational figures. They could be real or virtual. They'll help you give you perspective as well as tips on dealing with your challenges. I'm eternally grateful to the inspirational women that I work with and for, particularly in my early career. They always encouraged me to think about the art of the possible before focusing on practicalities. Try thinking no idea is a bad idea to open your mind to what can be done. I was always encouraged to take my place at the table, that I had a voice and that my opinion counted, even when my thoughts weren't fully developed. Remember, every no you receive is one step closer to a yes, and every failure is just a pre-success in disguise. As Thomas Edison, the inventor of the light bulb, is famous for saying, I haven't failed, I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work. So, to wrap up, in the world of digital marketing, curiosity, agility, and resilience are your soft skills toolkit. Master these, and you'll be well positioned to advance your career in digital and design. Let's not just embrace digital, let's redefine it with our human touch. Be curious, stay agile, and keep resilient. And remember, the digital world needs your unique human brilliance. Thank you so much for your time today. I hope that you found my insights useful, and please feel free to get in touch if you'd like to follow up.
Awesome. Round of applause for Nikki. I know she couldn't be here in person, but that was awesome. I think it's so important for us as women and just like as humans kind of living in this digital world. I know AI is super like top of mind, but behind the AI is humans. Humans currently run the world, and like we want to remember that we have to stay connected to that. And being a part of our community here at WID really helps with this resilience and also opportunities for like agility and curiosity. And so just like really awesome nuggets from that conversation. So thank you to Nikki for that. Be sure to connect with her on LinkedIn too if you find her work interesting. I'm sure she'd be happy to connect. So next up, we have um, Gemma, and just as a quick note, kind of before I transition, if people have questions about the topics as they come up, definitely feel free to use the comment section to raise those questions. The rest of our speakers will be here live, so they'll be able to answer them and see them in the chat. So quick note on that. So next up, we have the fabulous Gemma Pybus, a senior lecturer at the University of West London, presenting about business innovation, exploring the evolution of new technology and the obstacles women encounter in the process of developing and relaunching products. So, Gemma, I welcome you to the stage to take it away.
Hello. Let me just make sure that I've got my slides up correctly. Sorry, I know that as digital natives, we should be familiar with all different kinds of platforms, so, you know, Zoom and Teams and things like that. But yeah, hopefully you can see my slides. Yes, thank you ever so much, May, for introducing me, and thank you ever so much for having me here on International Women's Day. Yay, congratulations, everybody. Hopefully that you can hear me okay. If you can't, please just drop a message into the comments. I had jaw surgery a couple of weeks ago, and I'm struggling to project my voice a little bit. So if there are any problems and you can't hear me, obviously, please let me know, and I'll try and get closer to the screen, or just talk a little bit louder for you. So yes, my name is Gemma Pybus. I am a senior lecturer at the University of West London, and I am also director of a digital marketing organisation called Keyword Digital Tools. We have recently, or are in the process of relaunching, a new keyword research tool called Keyword Strategy Tool, which will be relaunched again next week. So it's the perfect time really to be talking to you about how we've brought that particular new innovation to market, the challenges that we faced along the way, just some of the learning experiences that we've had. So you can learn from them and perhaps not make the mistakes that we have along the way. So just a quick background, a little bit of information about me. So I haven't always been in digital marketing. My first degree, I'm a bit of a serial education fiend, but my first degree was in archaeology and anthropology. So didn't start off in digital, didn't start off in design, but have moved into this particular sector over the last few decades. So yes, I started off life after my archaeology and anthropology, moving into kind of copywriting, technical copywriting. Writing is something that I enjoy, and do prolifically, not always particularly well, but it's definitely something that I enjoy. My husband, who is a digital marketer and has been in digital marketing for the last 25 years, and he started showing me things that I could do with my writing. And together we launched a social media marketing business, and then moved into email marketing as well, and then moved into kind of web development, data science, search engine optimization, pay-per-click advertising, things like that. I joined his business. We joined it, or created an agency type, a digital marketing agency together in 2014, and it has grown exponentially since then. But I just wanted to show you my first slide is a picture of my very first kind of business expo that I did when I first set up my social media marketing business with support from my husband many, many years ago. And yes, those are Werther's Originals on the table. And if anyone comes to the expo that I'm doing next week, which I'll talk about a little bit more later, there will also be Werther's Originals there. So there is a bit of consistency in my business presentations. But yeah, that's kind of where I've come from. Okay, so we have developed a keyword strategy tool. And this was developed because in-house, as digital marketers, we specialised specifically in, saying the same kind of thing twice, in search engine optimization and pay-per-click advertising, as well as content marketing. And in order to do that, you need information about the keywords that people are typing into the search engine. So Google, Bing, even things like Amazon or eBay, anything that they're typing into the search engines in order to be presented with information. So we needed to know what people were looking for online. It's not always as easy as you think. I've worked for an organisation, lots of non-surgical organisations, non-surgical aesthetics businesses, and a lot of them wanted to promote things like non-surgical rhinoplasty, for example, which is a non-surgical nose job. But the customers, the people that are looking for those services, just as an example, weren't typing in non-surgical rhinoplasty, they were typing in non-surgical nose job. So it just highlights the fact that keyword research is really important when you're doing any kind of digital marketing. It's also really useful as well from a business development perspective. If you want to know how many people are looking for a specific product or service online, where there are trends in when they're looking for it, the language that they use, so that your communications can all be targeted to them effectively. Keyword research is important for a number of reasons. Okay, and there are a lot of tools out there already that do keyword research. So Google, for example, have Google Keyword Planner, which is part of the Google Ads system. So if you're running Google Ads, you can do research in there. There are things like Ubersuggest, Answer the Public, which is now tied in with Ubersuggest as well. Yeah, lots of different platforms. Moz, Ahrefs, lots out there. Unfortunately, they are either extremely expensive, or even if they are affordable, they don't have the functionality that we needed in-house in order to carry out our jobs easily. So that is why we started developing this. It was a need that we had in-house. We had never really intended for the tool to be used by the broader population. We developed it as an in-house tool. As a result, because we were developing it as an in-house tool, we developed it without having investors and huge outside funding. It was every time we had a little bit of extra money, it would go into the development of this. So the user interface wasn't particularly good, the user experience wasn't particularly good, but in terms of functionality, it did exactly what we needed. So yeah, we started to develop that. There obviously have been a number of challenges along the way. I mentioned the fact that because we developed it for us, the user interface and things hadn't necessarily been something that we wanted to focus on. We've got 3 children, my husband and I, so this has been developed whilst they have been small and growing, and whilst I've been pregnant. When I was 8 months pregnant with my second daughter, with my first daughter, second child, I completed a data science for web developers course to help with this. That was an interesting and uniquely interesting experience at 8 months pregnant. So again, something that some women can relate to, the unique challenges of that. When we've gone to promote this tool, particularly in the early days, I've had experiences where my husband and I have been on a stall or an event presenting together, and that people have come and spoken directly to my husband rather than me. In some cases, my husband has sent them my way because I'm the person that specializes in the specific question that they have, and that they've still refused to speak to me because I'm a woman, and it's assumed that I don't necessarily have the same level of understanding as he does. I mean, he's fabulous. He has a huge amount of understanding. So, you know, in that particular case, it probably is true. But you know, there have been cases where I have experienced unique challenges specifically related to the fact that I am a woman working in this industry as well. But they are minimal. The majority of the time, the people that I'm working with, the events that we go to, everybody is really warm and welcoming and inclusive, and you know, the people that appreciate what you're talking about and know the level of dedication and skill that it takes to, you know, bring a new product to market. Yeah, they don't really mind who you are as long as you know what you're talking about. So that's good. So yes, sorry, getting distracted with thinking about me being 8 months pregnant, trying to do that coding course, and the horror of hearing syntax error every time I, well, not hearing, but seeing the syntax error comment every time I put incorrect code in. So just trying to get over those memories there. So yes, we developed this tool for our in-house use, but very soon word got out that we had developed this and that we were using it, and it was speeding up our ability to carry out keyword research and to carry out really comprehensive keyword research, the likes of which lots of people hadn't seen before. And yeah, word started to get out. So we had to think about it and decided that we then wanted to maybe put it out there as a free tool to see how other people felt about it. So the first time that we released it as a free tool was back in 2019, and this is after several years of using it in-house ourselves and kind of slowly developing it when we had the funds available to us. And my husband's just brought this up to me, but in 2019 we won, you can't see it, but I'm just going to wave it in front of the camera. We won the B2B Marketing Expo and MTEX Awards Best Marketing Management Tool of the Year award, beating, I don't know if you've heard of Keep. They were previously Infusionsoft. They're a customer relationship management and email marketing tool, huge organization based in the United States, but really popular over here as well. So we beat organizations like them because of our fabulous tool. Obviously, having people utilize our tool, using it as a free resource, we found out a little bit more about the fact that they didn't necessarily find the user interface as user-friendly as it needed to be. But again, we decided that we didn't want to bring investors on board with us, because then the pressure is on getting that return on marketing investment as quickly as possible, rather than develop a tool that was true to what we want. So that was the route that we decided to go down. If you've got an innovative idea, it's not necessarily something that you may want to do as well. You may want to get investors on early on if you've come up with this innovative idea. But yeah, it's been something that we've been really passionate about, is to keep it as pure and unadulterated as we possibly could, so that it reflects what we want as business owners. Because if we're happy, if it meets our needs, then it surely then will meet the needs of other people who are involved in digital marketing, or people that want to do their own digital marketing work in-house. So that's, again, something that we've always been quite passionate about, is helping with the education side of things. giving people the skills that they need in order to carry out their own digital marketing effectively, rather than hog it once we've got it. So yes, that was 2019. We've had thousands of users on the platform over the last few years, and then based on all of the feedback that they'd provided and our own changes to our business as well, we decided a year ago to take it down from being publicly available, so that we could make huge changes to the user experience on there, the functionality on there, and things like that. And so next week is the launch of our brand new version of the keyword strategy tool. I haven't got very many slides, sorry. It's mostly me talking. But yes, this is just a quick mock-up of what the tool looks like when you log in. It is a tool that is going to be publicly available from next week. There is a freemium version of it, so you can sign up for free just to have a look at the functionality of the platform, to do a little bit of keyword research in order to find out some of the keywords and phrases that people are searching for with relation to your specific business, the products and services that you offer. So we have a free version that's available, and if you sign up, this is what you'll see when you log in. And yeah, just a quick, very quick, because it's still we're still moving around buttons and things like that at the moment, but on the left hand side, it just gives you a little bit of an idea. You type your keyword in to the search engine results and into the bar, and it comes up with lots of different related keywords that may be relevant, maybe linked to that particular keyword phrase that you've typed in. So if I'm typing in kind of yellow hat, it will have a number of phrases related to yellow hats as well. So I can potentially advertise or write content or things like that about the variety of yellow hats that I've got available. So yes, that is just a quick overview of what it looks like. So yes, we're launching this next week at our at the Business Innovation Expo at London's Excel. It is on the 13th and the 14th of March, next week, at London's Excel Centre. You can register for tickets online on the Women in Digital and Design website. So you can go to the in-person events page on there, and you can scroll down, because on the 14th, I am doing another talk, I know. You're so lucky. I have a few more slides, but it goes into a lot more detail about what keyword research is and why it's important and things like that, rather than talking about the process of getting this innovation to market. But yes, we're doing that event. There I'll be running a talk, and then we're having an in-person meetup afterwards. So if you are available, if you are interested in innovation in business, there's also a Wellbeing Expo, Wellbeing in the Workplace Expo, that's running at the same time. So if you are in London, or if you're in the area and you are interested in attending, please register for free tickets. Again, you can do that via the website under the in-person events, and yeah, it would be great to meet some of you in person. But just finally, as well as on the left, you can obviously see what the keyword research, a very simple insight into what our keyword research tool is going to look like, obviously, because we're still moving those buttons around. On the right hand side, you can see a very stretched out version of my new book. This is a tiny version of it. There we go. I've got the blur on, so you can't see it. So as well as having this keyword research tool, I've also written a book to go alongside it, which helps people to utilize keyword research tools more effectively in order to reach potential customers online. So yes, hopefully that will be a useful resource. If you're interested in that book, obviously, I will have lots of free versions available. So if you would like a copy of it, when that is launched, which will be in a couple of weeks' time, so the date for that is still pending, waiting for the design to come back. But I will have free copies of that book available. So if you would like one, please just send me an email. So the best email to get me at is gemma@digitalmarketinggroundworks.com, but you can also reach out to me on LinkedIn as well. And also just to say that I'm very proud to be a mentor on the for the WIDD network. So yes, join our mentorship or join the program. It's going to be fabulous over the next few months, working with some mentees to help them increase their confidence in this particular industry. So just wanted to promote that too. But yes, if you've got any questions at all, please pop them in the comments section. I don't know if I can see any. Oh, we've got a few. People saying that they can see me, they can hear me loud and clear. That's great. And yes, Beth saying that she's read The Authority Gap with examples about this the way that people respond to different individuals in positions of authority, or with trust and engagement and things like that as well, depending on age and gender and things like that. So yeah, a really interesting book there that I would like to read. I've just heard good things about it. But yes, if you've got any questions, please drop them in. Otherwise, I shall hand back over to May, and look forward to seeing any of you who do come to the event at the Excel on the 13th or 14th next week. Thank you very much.
You can't hear my claps because they're very soft. But round of emoji applause for Gemma on that conversation and topic. I was taking some notes, and I think that her experience is kind of like the pinnacle of being a woman. There's just so many things on top of work that we really have to deal with. She's talking about having like these kids while also taking this course, while also like running her business. And I feel like people just don't really understand like how much it really takes to do all of those. And then how much, I don't know if it's like pressure, but just like as a woman, we just are expected to have that kind of output. And so I love hearing stories like that, because one, it's like we're not alone. I feel like we all feel that kind of pressure to perform and like just do really well. But also that product is super cool, and in a digital space, there's so much data, and being able to search for the things that you need. There is a lot of like human touch and nuance to it, right? Nobody is searching the scientific term unless you have a doctor's degree. Like regular people who are just trying to get those needs met are using conversational language. And so how do you access that? Really, really fascinating stuff, Gemma. I just am like over the moon with that experience, and I hope you guys learned a lot too from that conversation. I think there are a lot of things that we all can relate to, but definitely feel free to connect with her on LinkedIn. Definitely feel free to like get her as a mentor if possible. I don't know. And then also definitely go to the events next week, meet her in person, get a free book, and just kind of connect over things that really popped out to you in this conversation. So thank you again, Gemma. Round of applause for you. Thank you for sharing your story. All right, we are slightly ahead of schedule, which means more time for you guys, which is I'm switching gears a little bit and letting you guys do the talking. Our next session is a networking session. So you should have like a tab in the platform here that is available to you that says networking. We're going to have you like join different meeting groups through the app, and just kind of connect with other people in our community. What's going on, where are they based, what kind of work are they doing, see if we can find commonalities and really expand our social circles. Because at the end of the day, we're all here to connect and empower each other to do the things that make us happy and make us successful. So um, the networking session is, sorry, I'm just reading my notes here. Okay. The networking session is for 15 minutes. You should be able to see it, but if you have any issues at all, just let us know in the comments and we can help you figure it out. But come back in the next 15 minutes because we got a talk from Beth on how to prep and plan your next career move. So hoping you guys can catch her having that conversation shortly after your 15-minute session. So click on join now after clicking the networking tab, and you should be on your way to solid conversations. I think that's it. Alrighty. Welcome back, everyone. Hope you were able to have some fruitful conversations and make meaningful connections with other people in our network. Next up, we have an important career topic, both for myself and just like in general, on how to prep and plan your next career move with Beth. This is going to be a really good conversation, so be sure to take some notes and leave some questions in the comments. So without further ado, I'm going to hand it off to Beth for her conversation. Oh, shoot, sorry. I guess people are probably still wrapping up their conversations. I just was, like, really excited. I was like, "I wanna hear what Beth has to say." But yeah, we can we can also wait for people to come back, kinda wrap their conversations. I'm super excited for Beth's talk because I feel like I'm in a space when in my career where, I'd love to really get some traction in it, and so, uh yeah, just generally excited, uh, to hear what notes I can take and make some moves in my own career, so, um, not sure if we're gonna keep waiting for some folks to trickle in, which I guess is a good sign, right? It means, like, people are having, like, really good conversations. Feel free also in the comments to give a shout out to the person that you met today. I think that's really cool. You never know who you're gonna meet in these conversations. People I saw we had folks calling in from South Africa, like that's super cool. Um, Without this network, I don't think I would have had the opportunity to even talk to somebody from South Africa all the way out in Hawaii. So, really, really cool. All right, awesome. Well, it's been a couple of minutes. I think people are done wrapping up, so I will hand the mic off to Beth so she can kick off her topic and presentation.
Amazing. May, thank you so much. And kudos to you for the timing. And I also saw someone in the chat who is dialing in from Atlanta, which is a super early start for you as well. So massive congratulations to you for making it and for making this a priority for you today, who just had a nice chat with someone in your networking event. Please put a Y in the comments if you met someone interesting today. It's a little bit of a test, A, to see if the comments are working and I can see them, and B, to see if you're still awake after a little break, and C, because I want a little bit more interaction as I go through my presentation. Great to connect and network with Caroline and Esther. Loved my chat with Buki. Yes, didn't manage to connect with anyone else. Amazing. Yes, Caroline says. Fabulous. Okay, great. So I can confirm, I can see the comments and they're working great. It's such a privilege to be here with you today. Thank you so much to the WIDD network for having me and inviting me. I really appreciate it. So you're in the right place if you want to hear how to prepare and plan for your next big career move. I have about 30 minutes to share with you as much juicy information as possible. So I'm going to get into it immediately. Can anyone pop a yes into the comments if you are looking for your next career move in 2024? I would love to kind of gauge who we have in the audience today that is looking to potentially make a move. That could be internally, externally. I realize that is quite a personal question. You don't know who's on the line. But I would love to hear it if anyone's feeling brave, if they are ready to make a move. Let me know in the comments. Okay, I'm going to crack on. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, amazing. Okay, great, great, great. Okay, right. I'm fired up. Thank you for those yeses. My aim today is to provide you with as much value as possible. I do get very excited about this topic. I do tend to talk very quickly. If you need me to slow down a little bit, please pop it into the chat. Also want to remind you just how incredible you are. And I think sometimes when we're getting bogged down in like thinking about what's next for us and we can't see the wood from the trees, sometimes it can be hard to remember just how incredible we all are. I want to show you what's possible. I'm going to give you a little few examples of some of my clients and how they've illustrated how the practices that they've put into place. So I want to show you what's actually physically possible for you. I want you to get you thinking bigger. And I want you to start dreaming a bit bigger. And I think sometimes we get caught down in realistic versus what we're dreaming about. And actually, I really want you to kind of think and dream as big as possible. So that is something I want to kind of leave you with today. And I want to leave you feeling empowered to take some action. Does that sound good? Okay, I wanted to share with you that I speak mostly to women. I haven't actually seen any guys' names on the chat. I have been on the line since the beginning. So I don't believe we've got any guys with us. Apologies if we have. And you are most welcome. If we have some guys, you are obviously most welcome. And everything is still very relevant for you too. However, I am a coach specifically for women. And I chat with a lot of women every single month, whether that's my own clients, whether it's in forums like these or workshops or presentations. And these are the common themes that I see. And I would love for you to pop a Y into the chat if any of these are resonating with you. This is going to be interactive. So it is going to be putting some Ys or yeses in the chats. I'd love to see what's landing with you and what's resonating with you. So here's some common themes that I see when I talk to women. You want more, but you've got no clarity on what that is. You're hoping that someone will notice you. You're lacking visibility and the recognition you deserve or desire. Your inner critic is running the show. Or you're feeling stuck or starting to feel disengaged. Is that a yes for anybody? Anyone brave enough to share that that's their situation? Okay. By the end of this 30 minutes, you will know 3 strategic solution-focused ways to prep and plan your next big career move. Thank you. Got some yeses. I know it's a little bit of a lag. Thank you. Thanks, guys. Thanks for the yeses. Absolutely. This is going to be tailored for you. These are the themes that I see. So watch this space. In return, I would love to ask you just to be present, show up for yourself, be open to learn, and as I said, participate in the chat box for me, so that I know that you're still there, and B, so that I know it's resonating with you. If you've got questions as we go, by the way, please feel free to pop them into the chat. I can see that, so I will be happy to answer anything as we go through. In the meantime, I know I haven't introduced myself, so here is a perfect opportunity to do so. So I am Beth Hocking, and I am on a mission to readdress the gender balance in senior leadership roles. That is what I do. I quit my 20-year career to do just that because I wanted to see a difference and I wanted to make a bigger impact in the world. And I realized that I could do that better outside of a corporate organization, like in the real world. So I love to travel. This is a picture from my recent holiday. I love to work out and I love to look nice and dress up a little bit. My superpowers include lifting other people up, hearing what's not being said, and reframing and seeing the positive. Why am I here today? Actually, I'm not here to dazzle you with any of my credentials. What qualifies me most is to let you know that I've been here and I've been where you are. And I felt held back for years. And I was standing in my own way because I couldn't see my own value and my own worth. And I felt really passionately that women deserved a better platform. And I noticed that a lot of the things were systemic issues. And of course, you know, we're coming through, we are making some differences in the system. However, I also noticed that there were issues that we could control and we could reclaim. And that was confidence and self-worth being one of them, which is why I've really focused my work on women reclaiming their confidence to ensure that they're in a much better position to take over those leadership positions. Okay, so today's overview, I want 3 pillars for you to consider today in your quest for planning and preparing yourself for your next big career move. So number 1 is clarity, number 2 is drive, and number 3 is belief, and all will become clear. So clarity, all too often, maybe feeling a lack of clarity is because you're dissatisfied in some way. Maybe that's resonating with some of you who are feeling unclear. That is why having clarity is really vital for your career. Unfortunately, without clarity, people set themselves up to fail by feeling stuck or procrastinating around what's next, not feeling challenged enough, not moving forward, but staying in their comfort zone, feeling underutilized for their gifts and talents and skill sets, maybe not advocating or self-promoting themselves because they don't see the point if there is no clarity to what's next for them. And maybe you're not having those conversations about career progression because you don't know what you want, or you expect your boss or your line manager to do it for you, which, spoiler alert, most of them will not because they're too busy with themselves and looking after their own career paths. You may have a very great boss that you're very, very happy with, who is actively seeking your progression and your development. However, that is not the case for the majority. Okay, so I want to share with you just a couple of examples from my clients, and then I want to share with you a bit about the how to get more clarity. So one of my clients, best illustration to share with you what I'm talking about, one of my clients is called Hannah. So Hannah came to work with me predominantly to work on her mindset and enable her to progress through her career. She got more than she bargained for. As what she thought she wanted in her career turned out not to be the case. So Hannah, as someone who'd been working in the same organization for more than 20 years, yes, that still happens occasionally. She'd grown up obviously through the company and been promoted through the organization and was a real kind of go-to person for networking and company knowledge. She found herself in a position where her bosses kept moving on, and she was hesitant as to whether that role was something she wanted to step into or not. As we worked together, we got really clear on Hannah's unique values, her strengths, her skill set, what she enjoyed doing, and where she was thriving. Her mindset was blocked as to what she thought was available to her in her current organization and her current position. She hadn't considered that she might be able to create her own role or move companies to achieve her career ambitions. When we worked together through a few exercises around what really lit her up, she had a wonderful aha moment of clarity, and she discovered that she was indeed in control. And here is her in her own words. I had a major aha moment when I finally realized that my future and my own goals were down to me and not anybody else. For far too long, I've been saying that I don't know what my options are or what options were available to me at work. But actually, it isn't about that. It's about what do I want from my career and putting a plan in place to achieve this. She also says, I've also realized that what I thought I wanted isn't actually what I want. So strange, after years of assuming that that was the next step and that's what I would end up doing. It seems so obvious now, but this has given the clarity for me to see clearly. And I'm so thrilled for this client because she had a massive breakthrough in terms of getting that clarity that she desired and deserved after spending so many years at the mercy of other people. Or from assuming what other people wanted from her. So it's finally become clear to her that she's in the driving seat and she gets to decide and create and design what comes next to her. As a side note, I challenge all of my clients to ask for a pay rise, something that feels very awkward for them, something that is not normalized at the moment. And obviously I give them the tools to do that. And Hannah, this client, used all of her learnings to do just that with amazing success. I think she had a 2,500% increase on her coaching return on investment. And she had about a 25% increase in her salary because she was so homegrown when she did the benchmarking that she realized that she was being underpaid. So this work goes so much deeper. But I wanted to say, in terms of clarity, look how important it is so that you understand what you're looking for and not putting your career path in other people's hands. Okay, so like Hannah, you need complete career clarity to enable you to see the goal that you're aiming for, to take the next action step to move you forward, to rediscover or uncover your energy, your passion, and what really lights you up, and to get you back in the driving seat and taking the wheel over being passive. Okay, so my top tips, if you haven't kind of gathered them already, to move you towards clarity are: number one, take a moment and just reset or reassess where you are right now. Like, what are your values? What are my strengths? What are my skills? And what are my priorities right now? We just heard Gemma talking about, working through her pregnancies and subsequent, having children at home and those kind of things. Like, it doesn't always need to be that your career is full speed ahead. Like, when it's your focus is your career, brilliant, let's go full steam ahead. If you've got divided loyalties or divided priorities, you know what? There's no harm or shame in admitting that you've got different priorities. So let's just take a step back to reassess, like, where am I now? And what are my priorities? What are my strengths? What can I give? What can I bring? And what do I value? And I think values are the most important thing to just recognize. They're our North Star. They are intrinsically what guide us, whether we know and can articulate our values or not. So just take a step back and figure out where you are right now, and not only where you are right now, but secondly, who you are right now. So do a bit of an audit around your current role. Are you in alignment with those values and those priorities? Are you living into your skill set? Are you stepping into your dream career? Right? Let's get curious rather than judgmental. Okay. And then thirdly, who do I want to be? And this is really important. If you're out of alignment and you know that you're ready for the next step, you're thinking about the identity of that person who is then that next step. And then for you to close the gap between where you are now and where you want to be. Okay. And step 4, like, think about that exciting dream future for you. Marie Forleo says that clarity comes from action. So start taking some action, right? Dip your toe into the water and see what feels right to you. You're not getting a tattoo on your face, okay? You can try a few things out. All right. Second pillar is drive. And I know that you're like, Beth, I've got tons of drive, right? I wouldn't be here if I wasn't ambitious and I've got lots of drive. And yet, by drive, I mean actually putting yourself in the driving seat. So being passive won't get you promoted. You have more control than you believe in the corporate setting. So rather than sitting back and waiting for someone to notice you and how good you are, take the reins and let's get proactive. So without drive, you may find yourself in Tesla mode, driving on autopilot or stuck in that business as usual routine, not in control, not behind the wheel, being passive, as I said, waiting for someone to notice you, in human doing mode rather than in human being mode, meaning that you're not living your life and career intentionally. And maybe you're allowing your next career move to be in someone else's hands, as we've already talked about. And when you lack drive, in the sense that I mean, it's a little bit like this illustration. Like, you're in that autopilot and you haven't stopped to think if there's a simpler, easier way of making the breakthrough that you desire and you deserve, if you haven't considered working smarter and not harder. Okay, so here I want you to meet my client Anna. She's an established executive director. She had dreams of becoming a managing director, and when Anna and I started working together, she was clear on her long-term goal, but wasn't sure how to make it a reality. So she was really busy with a full work life, but also had a life outside of work. She felt like she was going through the motions. She had a vague goal in mind, but wasn't being intentional about how to get there. When Anna and I started working together, she realized that she had a dream, but now she needed to start taking it and putting it into a strategic action plan to start executing it. So the steps we took were creating a really compelling future around why she wanted to be where she was going to get to. So managing director, why was that important to her? What was the impact and the legacy that she wanted to leave by being that? So we created a really strong, like, motivational pull for her. We then put a timeline in her goal and broke it down into milestones to ensure she was on the right path. I challenged Anna to uncover what her next big milestone would be for her to achieve that in what time frame. In fact, she smashed the goal and the time frame, and she achieved it so much sooner than she expected. We also worked on her confidence and assertiveness, and she had a candid conversation with her boss where she asked for what she wanted. After asking for what she wanted, she got promoted. Wasn't quite to MD level yet, but that was towards her milestone. She now has a further team of 10 reporting to her, and she's now working on bringing them all together in a really cohesive way. She also celebrated a larger than expected pay rise and is making another business case for progression as we speak. So I'm really proud of her commitment to her goal and her vision. But as you can see, when you start kind of breaking that down into strategic action steps, you can really start seeing, actually, you know what, this is the change that I need to make. These are the conversations I need to have to make the progression that I need. And here's my top tips to move you more towards clarity, towards drive. So take an umbrella view for a minute and take yourself out of the business as usual to reflect upon your current strategy. Right, number 2, get really clear on your personal reasons why. Why do you want that promotion? Why do you want that career change? Why do you want that career pivot? And make sure it's something that you really desire, and not just because it's the next step on the ladder or that it's someone else's expectation of you. Like, really, like, think about the rationale and the reasons why you want to achieve what you want to achieve. Number 3, take back the wheel, get back in the driving seat and get out of Tesla mode, and program that GPS system with the real clarity that you have from the first pillar. And finally, start taking aligned action that feels really good for you. If the goal is big, like my client, and you feel like, oh, it feels too far away, or it feels like it's just a dream right now, start taking it back into manageable bite-sized chunks. And that reminds me of like that phrase, how do you eat an elephant? And sometimes our dreams and missions and visions can seem like such an elephant-sized task, but actually when you break it down, and the answer is of course one bite at a time, break it down. We talk about strategy a lot in our business lives. Like, let's bring that into your personal life and your career. Like, where are you now? Where do you want to be? What's the strategy? Let's break it down. So lift and shift that kind of strategy mentality from that business world and that corporate world that we have, and bring it into our personal lives. Are you guys still with me? Is this all resonating and making sense? Put a Y in the comments. I would love to hear from you. I'm going to move on to the third and final pillar, which is belief. And for me, this is the key to how you show up. You eliminate self-doubt, imposter syndrome, and perfectionism. You rediscover your most confident, authentic self for potent action taking without second guessing yourself. Thank you, ladies, for the whys. Rachel, yes. Annie, yes. Spooky, yes. Caroline, yes. Valentina, a big thumbs up. Joylyn, 100%. Amazing. Thank you so much. So I want to share this with you. If it doesn't challenge you, right? We have years of conditioning behind us that creates our current reality. I am 40, almost 4 years old. I've got 44 years of conditioning behind me that has created my current beliefs and my current reality. But if we're not changing, if we're not challenging our current conditioning, we won't be changing. So here, what you're not changing, you are choosing. And maybe you think that's a little bit harsh. And maybe you didn't come here for some tough love today or for challenge. But I love this quote by Anthony DeMeo, who says the only way someone can be of use to you is to challenge your ideas. And I actually just want to be the person who's challenging your ideas right now. And maybe putting it a little bit more challenging. It's not necessarily about tough love, but it's like, if we're not willing to step out of our comfort zones, if we are not willing to start challenging our norms and our belief systems and how we do things in our routines, then change will not be possible for us. So the key to change and transformation lies in your mindset and the belief that you have about yourself. And it's so cliche to quote Henry Ford, but it's such a pertinent quote to say at this moment in time. Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. So there's no harm in trying to think that you can, right? So here, without self-belief, you may have feelings of imposter syndrome. Like someone's going to find you out. You may have be sabotaging your behaviors or sabotaging your own success or fear of your own success. You may lack self-confidence. You may lack self-worth. Yes, I know, Susan. Quote some women too. I know. I usually do actually, but this keynote in particular, it was pertinent for the men's quotes. But yes, I do normally. So come back again. You may struggle to advocate for yourself, like we've heard before, or you might find that perfectionist thinking is halting your productivity. I don't need to ask if there's some whys in the comments, because I speak to so many women and those are their challenges. Another illustration from another one of my client, Carly. So Carly followed my journey over on Instagram. Thanks, Susan. I'm mostly active on LinkedIn, by the way, and I forgot to say that I put a QR code on my intro slide, which is just going to send you to my LinkedIn profile. If you want to connect with me, hop on over to LinkedIn is probably the best place to come find me, interact with me. Let me know that you saw me here and let's have a quick chat. Carly followed my journey. She was struck by my positivity and my perspective, and I found that strange, because for me that's just normal, that's natural, that's just who I am, but it isn't who everybody is, which was very interesting. Just a side note, she herself felt stuck in that kind of negative spiral mindset. And she was telling herself all kinds of stories about the judgment of other people. So she was about how she was afraid that she was showing up as a different person to who she was pre-children, and that she was terrified to be uncovered as a bit of a fraud, even though she really wanted to get back into the workplace post maternity and start making another meaningful contribution. Carly's action steps. So my coaching style combines evidence-based approach with a signature mindset mastery, so both left brain and right brain approach, in order to challenge those negative stories and beliefs that we have about ourselves. We began to unpick a lot of Carly's negative conditioning and rewire a more positive mindset, thoughts, and belief system. Carly also leaned into self-leadership practices and priorities, and the power of setting herself up for success with a morning routine and an evening routine, and new habits that gave her control around her energy more and more every single day. So Carly stated that the work we did together was game-changing for her, leading for her to have a more positive change and more clarity of vision. She discovered the power of healthy, positive mindset, which are transferable across all areas of her life. She improved the balance that she was lacking. She learned to trust herself more by listening to her inner knowing. By focusing on what she could control, Carly stopped second-guessing herself and others and stopped over-analysing everything. She'd also never asked for help before. I don't know if anyone resonates with that, as she saw it as a sign of weakness. And it wasn't that she felt like she wasn't a good enough wife, mother, executive, etc. if she had to ask for help. But instead, she worked on like leaning into the people that could help her in her life and that actually wanted to help her. So instead of trying to get everything done perfectly, which was causing her distress, overwhelm, and frustration, I'm sure you can resonate with that, she embraced the concept of done being better than perfect, or progress over perfection. I'm sure you've heard of those. And so often when we're high achievers, we want things to be done perfectly. We often focus on the things that we don't do right over the things that we do. But by embracing that progress over perfection, we eradicate the procrastination that sometimes comes with that perfectionist mindset. So that enables us to actually get more done. Like comparison is the thief of joy, and perfectionism is the thief of productivity. So Carly progressed through rounds of interviews and landed a job at a hedge fund in August. And we're laughing about that in the exchange that you can see on the screen, because she told herself that she would never, ever, ever get a job in August because it was summertime. She fought with me around, Beth, you don't understand my industry. Like, nobody hires in August. She really had this thing about, it's never going to happen for me because it's August. And look what happened. So really challenged her to reset and rewire her mindset around, if it was going to be August, then, let's welcome that in. So she has now re-entered the workforce with a renewed energy and a significantly more positive mindset and balance in her life. She went from a 4 out of 10 to a 10 out of 10 in her mindset. She significantly dropped her perfectionist tendencies in favor of progress and improved her well-being habits to ensure she has more energy and more productivity in any given day. Could you imagine that massive change that Carly's experienced? And I'm going to quickly give you my top tips to move you more towards self-belief. So number one, as I mentioned, evidence-based. Start collecting evidence. And I suggest that you start a ta-da list, which is of all the accomplishments and all of your proud moments, big or small. Keep them somewhere, like I keep mine on my phone, on my notes page, keep them somewhere handy. So if you're going to walk into something that feels scary or anxious, you can just go back and read your to-do list, and it'll give you like a pep in your step, like a little coach in your pocket. Secondly, learn to decipher facts from fictions. So a little bit like Carly telling herself the story around, she was never going to get hired in August. Was that a fact, or was that a fiction? Was that a story that she was telling herself? Yes, because look at the fact she then got hired in August. So that leads me on to step 3, right? You don't have to believe all your thoughts. We get 60,000 thoughts every single day. 85% of them are negative, which is shocking for me. 95% of them are the same as every day, right? So we're on a loop in some of those. We recycle some of those thoughts, which is absolutely crazy. And yes, Joylyn, you know the score. Transformation starts with your mindset. And finally, lean in and get some support, right? Are you feeling and experiencing, things that you're struggling with? Where do you maybe need to upskill or up level? Like, what is potentially missing for you that you can go and work proactively towards? Where do you might need to get some support and nip things in the bud before you sit and spiral into negativity for too long? Okay, just have a think about that. And quickly to wrap up then, I have shared 3 strategic solution-focused ways to get you ahead in your career in 2024. The first one was clarity and why it was so vital for your career success. Number 2 is recognizing if you're currently in the driving seat or if you've slipped into Tesla mode, and being really open and honest with yourself about that. And thirdly, why tackling your mindset is going to be the key to career fulfillment and conviction in yourself. Sometimes I get asked the question, is it possible to go deeper with you after I've done some trainings? And the answer, of course, is it's entirely up to you, because you always have a choice. And if you're feeling stagnant or stuck, don't waste time, effort, energy trying to do it all alone. And if you'd like to have a deeper conversation, as I mentioned, hop over on LinkedIn, send me a little DM, and let's have a chat and see how I might be able to support you. I would love to hear any questions if we've just got a minute or two to do so. Thank you, by the way, for your participation, your enthusiasm. It can sometimes feel like you're just talking into thin air, especially when we're not live. So I really appreciate everybody who's given me a thumbs up or a yes or followed along in the commentary. I really do appreciate it. It really does help the presenters to recognize that. All right, if there's no questions, but you have some private ones, you know where to find me. Susan says she loves the to-do list. Amazing. Caroline, thank you for being a great supporter. You're so welcome. Annie, you're so welcome anytime. But otherwise, May, I think it might be back over to you.
Yes. Really amazing talk, Beth. I took a gajillion notes, and the Tesla mode, such a good analogy. That was brilliant. Thank you for sharing that. Awesome. So we're in the last leg of our event. Really exciting stuff. Thank you guys so much for staying online, staying engaged, taking notes and stuff. I am going to move us directly into our panel discussion today, talking about fostering inclusion in remote work environments. Given today's digital age, remote work is all the rage, but it kind of comes with its pros and cons. So let's talk about that. I have these amazing panelists up here on stage with me. I'm going to have them introduce themselves, then we'll kind of get straight into the questions, if that's cool. I was like waiting for like an audience nod, but I can't see anybody, so we're just gonna get started. Awesome. So I'm gonna have everybody introduce themselves. We're gonna start with Katya first. So if you could tell us your current role, your company, kind of years of experience, and your background, that would be awesome.
Yeah, sure. Thanks so much for having me, and hi everyone. So I'm Katja. I'm an edtech founder from Berlin, and we kind of set out to redefine leadership. We're saying, hey, maybe we have this mental image somehow that a leader is an older white male in a suit, but there are many different types of leading, right? And we contribute to this vision by empowering all the women leaders and all the underrepresented leaders in a way, everyone who has fewer role models. And that we started 3 years ago. Before that, I founded a couple of other ventures, and I spent 1 decade in the corporate world. So I was working in large organizations like Philips and SAP. And at SAP, I had the opportunity to enable other startups with their go-to-market before I decided to take the leap and think, maybe I can do that myself, but with a passion project like Wavemakers. So that's it in a nutshell. Excited for the panel.
Nice. Awesome. Thank you. All right, Rebecca, we'll have you come up next. Introduce yourself.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here. My name is Rebecca. I'm the VP of Operations at FMO Media. We're a 360-degree digital marketing agency, and I have had over a decade of experience in both digital marketing and operations. I've been really blessed to be able to build a career over developing strategies, coaching team members, help building up other leaders, as well as managing client relations and streamlining systems for teams and for clients alike. My professional background is a lovely mix, and I love to consider myself an artist as well as a marketer. I have a background in theater as well as classics and marketing and business as well. Yeah.
Ooh, fun. We got some creatives in the space. That's great. Awesome. Diana?
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me today. I'm really always impressed about so many inspiring women who are also creative like me. My daily job is to help companies through DEI efforts to make workplace a better place to work. I have a background in digital marketing over 15 years, worked for agencies, worked in-house, also in different companies, big and small, in different industries to kind of hone the skill, and then close the cycle by working for platforms like Facebook and Snapchat. This is why I moved from Latvia to London 3 years ago. And this has been a really exciting journey that is worth sharing, I guess. And beside of that, I'm also a creative person. I write lyrics. I'm into music. I sing sometimes record something. So yeah, here I am.
Awesome. Awesome. We'll have to listen to a sample one of these days. That'd be really fun. And last but not least, we have Amaya on stage.
Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for having me. It's such a great event. My name is Amaya, and I am the CEO of RubyCap. At RubyCap, what we do is we fight period poverty through the distribution of sustainable menstrual products. My work at RubyCap in the last 12 years has taken me to Kenya, to London. I live in Barcelona now. And I'm just super interested in how us female leaders can change the world by improving how companies work and treat women, and how we can help communities through the work of private and public institutions.
For sure. We got a solid group of people up here. I'm really excited to ask these questions. I actually have an icebreaker question up, but I know we're a bit short on time, so I kind of want to get into the meat of our questions. And kind of based on your last answer, in women in the workplace and stuff, I think that's a good lead into this next one I have, which is, what are some unique challenges women face in remote work environments, and how can organizations address them effectively? And so, Diana, I'll actually have you answer that one first.
Yeah, I think there are several, and one of them is being that the lines have blurred when you work from home. It feels like work is taken over your space, literally, and hence it's easy to go into those toxic patterns for yourself as well, to work too much, basically. And also, apart from that, you have unequal workload with, household and childcare. So sometimes it's just really taking over your time and energy. So and strategies to tackle that for companies would be to support flexible schedules, because that would allow a person, to choose when they work, as long as they do the job. Obviously, it could be different for different companies depending on what they do, and there are areas where you have to be on certain, hours, available in certain hours. But in general, flexibility allows, people to balance their work and life better, and hence that affects also mental health. Microaggressions also is something unique with the remote working, because you don't see the faces, you don't read the body expressions, body language, and that easily, and camera is not always on, let's be honest. so it's hard to read people and read the room and guess, if you get that promotion, for example, or is your boss really kind of, angry at you, or your colleague maybe is not that, really active and proactive in speaking up, and you can't really get if they got the task or whatever, so many things that can go wrong in communication as well, just to name a few.
Yeah, it's certainly tough as we navigate kind of this fully remote work, and like interacting with people is so different. I know, Katya, you kind of work on empowering women in leadership and stuff. Like, how would you contribute to this question or answer this question?
It's a super interesting one, and I can share with you some of the observations from the Wavemakers community, where we work with many, especially early and mid-career women that are transitioning and still navigating their career path. And what we observe or see a lot is that men and women were often socialized differently, right? So this is something that is not always beneficial for women in a work environment that was designed by men in many cases. And one specific example from the remote workspace is what we see, interruptions in meetings. So we see that a lot of folks in our programs report that this is happening to them, being cut off or being overlooked in meetings and these kind of situations. And women were often socialized in a way to kind of let it go and still be polite and kind of deal with it. So this is one way of doing it, but of course it leads to people actually being overlooked and their valuable perspectives and contributions not being taken into account, which is a problem. Or if you decide to actually stand your ground and say something against it, you're often facing social punishment in a way. So then she's the difficult woman, or she's the one who is creating confusion and all of that. So these are just everyday challenges, also relating to the microaggressions that Diana was mentioning, that women are facing, and in a remote environment we sometimes see it even more, especially in online meetings.
Rebecca, do you feel like you experience some of those things as well, kind of in your leadership role, or like how do you relate to Katya's answer?
Yeah, I think definitely seeing there is a difference in how we socialize as women versus men, and I definitely find that, and I've observed that as well too. And pushing back against that can be challenging. I think one of the things that's hard for women is learning how to network and socialize when you work in a remote environment, which is why webinars and sessions like these are so great, because we can interact and we can engage with each other and learn that we're not alone. And that's the second thing too, the loneliness, the isolation that can happen when you work remote. It's real, just as real as Zoom fatigue is real too. So how do you balance the two of those things? Diana, you mentioned that boundary of personal and work life too, not letting the work creep into the personal and the personal overtake the work either. And how do you find that ebb and flow? I would also say that there's the opportunity to be promoted might not be readily available for women, depending upon the environment that you're in and working in, or the leadership team. So partly for me as a leader, I want to make sure that people do have opportunities. I think that if your company is focused on having development for all of your team members and actively encouraging that, actively encouraging building relationships too, it might seem a little funny to think, oh, we need to remember to do that because we're in marketing. But I think it actually really should be top of mind, because partly marketing is relationships. I think the other thing to keep in mind too is having a system for feedback within your team, 360 degrees, so that your team members feel comfortable coming to you, sharing how they're feeling, setting up one-on-ones regularly with them as well, so you can touch base and get a pulse check. Just making sure that you have that connection, even though you might be far apart. And you don't have to just use video conferencing. You can use Slack, you can use Teams. There are many ways to connect, just as much as there are many ways to ignore each other. So don't ignore the signs you're seeing in your team members. Make sure you're checking in regularly and create that environment where you are building those relationships.
Yes, yes. And I think that's such a huge theme for this whole event, like making meaningful connections, really like understanding the women's experience and like supporting each other through that. And that's also why I think Amaya's product is so cool, because like this notion around periods and just like the stereotypes around that, like what a challenge and what an unnecessary one. And so, talk to us about kind of how you would answer this question in terms of working in a remote space, and how can organizations, address this?
I just want to start by saying that I completely agree with everything Rebecca, Kathy, and Diana said. Like, it really resonated. I just wanted to add that I think there are two more elements at play here. And while remote work works for many people for many, many reasons, I think there are two things that are very linked to being a woman. One of them is biology. You could be having like really painful periods where maybe you can work, but you are better off working from home, or you need a flexibility to maybe go full steam ahead when you are ovulating and take it a bit more easy on those days. You could have very bad PMS. You could be having a very hard pregnancy. You could be going through fertility treatment or having miscarriages, pregnancy loss. I mean, there are a number of biological factors that make women perhaps slightly more likely to seek that remote working, which does not in any way make them any less valuable, efficient, effective, fantastic. The other side is that women do most of the caring work. I think the latest research said that most women take around 45% hours a week to care for children, elderly, family members, and so on. That means that, let's say, cutting down those 2 hours of commuting a day makes a huge difference to the quality of life. Now, companies have to look at this with empathy and also wonder about the gender bias. Because I think if there was a guy who was a man, like no shade on guys, I'm talking about a societal construction, which is that if a guy was a single dad, or he was looking after his elderly dad or something like that, and working full time or working very hard and achieving all the goals at work, he will be seen as a hero. So women that are doing that, they're working, being great employees, great team members, having periods every month, looking after children, looking after parents. We should be seen as the amazing assets we are. And I think if companies can shift that, instead of thinking, oh, women have so many responsibilities, see what that means in terms of resilience, adaptability, being conscious of time management, that would be amazing. But of course, the most important thing for me is clear communication. Like, tell your employees clearly what you expect from them. Have an output-based culture rather than presentism. And I think that it can really work if management can say clearly what they expect from their employees, and the employees can give honest feedback. I think it was Rebecca that said 360 feedback, and say, I think this is doable, this is not, this is going to be done by this time, it can work super well. We have to break that fear barrier of being open about who we are as employees, but also humans, and same for the companies.
So yes to all of that. Oh my gosh, there's just like so much to digest in that note. But I I was just taking so many notes. But yeah, thank you guys for sharing on that, because these kind of feel like so unique to women, and but they feel so negative at the same time. And as we celebrate International Women's Day. As we celebrate this month, I think it's important that we have these conversations and figure out, how can we make this better? And so maybe my next question is actually, could you guys share examples of, successful initiatives or programs within your organizations that have that you've implemented or like hope to promote inclusion in remote environments? Um, Deanna, I'll actually have you kick it off again this time.
Thanks. I'm really eager to answer this one because I've had an interesting experience myself and that happened through ERG, Employee Resource Groups, at Snapchat. I was also elected to lead one afterwards, but that was an interesting experience. Why I'm saying this, because I joined exactly when it was COVID and it was remote and I felt alone starting a new job. And we had these amazing council sessions where we got to know each other. It was like a little circle, like what happens in a circle stays in a circle. But people felt like, they can actually share stuff. Not the personal, very personally, if somebody felt like it's okay. But it helped to understand each other better and not to feel alone, if that makes sense. So you don't have to tell all your story, but you have to kind of, feel like you're part of the story, And I think Amaya also mentioned, being transparent and being, open and not to hide, that's super important. So in my journey, what happened, I realized that I have ADHD. At age of 37, which was a shock to me. Shock in a way that I lived for that long, not knowing and wondering now, like what could have happened if I had known, earlier. And nothing, changed drastically after that. But I'm a better communicator now. I can proactively, first of all, get to know myself and get to know what are my strengths and what are my, disadvantages sometimes where I need to, put a focus on or just relax, and also proactively communicate that with my colleagues, with my partners, with my, people that I work with, and also in personal life, that helps, not to feel guilty, after all of these years that, sometimes you don't have the emotional regulation or whatever. So yeah, I think that really helps to be, again, a better communicator. So these groups that companies create, especially if it's a bigger organization, communities feel that they are, together, but also they can educate others to be better allies, to understand each other better, and that definitely helps, to work better together as well. So yeah.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, and then like Snapchat during COVID too, like that was such a huge piece of like trying to find connection with other people. And Katya, when you work with organizations and when you try to implement these women empowerment initiatives, like what does that look like for you guys?
Yeah, for us, the underlying idea is really that any person can be a leader and everyone can also contribute to the working culture and the way we collaborate and shape things and create things. But I actually had a couple of examples also in mind that are maybe some tangible takeaways also for people to learn from. A lot of things, especially Brave Makers as a startup that we tried out internally, can also work for other teams. And we paid a lot of attention, for example, to how do we manage our meetings, right? So we established, although we are a very diverse team, so we have 10 people from 8 different countries, there are language barriers, things are moving fast, things are messy, you're a startup. So there's a lot of things going on, but at the same time, we make time like every morning, 10-minute check-in, we follow Scrum. So every single morning we see each other's faces and we have this rule to switch the cameras on, kind of look into each other's eyes, even if we are in different locations on different continents, even different times of the day. but we start the day together. And I think sometimes it's these little things that can make a big difference. Also how we design workshops, internal ones, that we make sure there is a time to ideate and where everyone's perspective counts. So it doesn't matter if you are a director level or if you're the intern, like everyone has in the ideation phase a unique perspective that can contribute something. But then there's also a phase where we have to converge again and kind of make decisions. And then it's the person that has most subject matter expertise in that area that is actually making the final call, right? So some of these structures to establish them can help also everyone feel included, and at the same time also create outcomes that we wouldn't be able to create otherwise alone. And lastly, Rebecca already spoke earlier a bit about relationships, and I think this is super important and something we shouldn't forget. So every Friday, we have one meeting where we don't talk about work. And I think this is one of the things that is so important when we work together remotely, and we want to foster relationships remotely, because we don't have this coffee chat, or we don't see necessarily, that someone is bringing a backpack and not the other bag, and we ask, what's up with your family, your child, like all these kind of cues sometimes get missing. So it's good to have like at least one touch point per week where we don't talk about work, but we get to know each other as humans a little bit better and also connect at that level.
Yes, because we're all doing stuff outside of work. We all have different kinds of bags and like have different interests and stuff. And I do think that's important when we're building connections across people, especially in a remote environment. Unfortunately, this is such a juicy conversation, but I know we're cutting it close to time. I have a million questions I want to ask you guys. It sounds like we might actually make this into a longer event in the future. I think it's because our community is so global and we are primarily remote. I think this is applicable to probably everybody in our network. So I'd love to kind of expand this into its own session where each question has its own time to settle with people and everyone has enough time to answer them as well. If that's cool with you guys, I just want to make sure that you're cool to do another session in the future for this. Because 20 minutes is not enough time to tackle the world's problems, find these solutions. So I'm just gonna double check the comments, see if folks are kind of staying in touch, have any thoughts. Great point from Maya, from Beth, which is really neat. All right, awesome. Well, I guess with that, I might kind of close out the event. I want to make sure I'm respectful of everyone else's time. I don't want to run over too much, but round of applause, emoji applause for people, for the panelists up on stage. We will see them again very shortly in an upcoming event, because it's such an important conversation in connecting people, making sure people feel heard and seen and empowered in their own spaces. And so thank you guys again for being on stage.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. This is the worst part of my job, which is closing the event. I'm just having so much fun, and I just want to keep having these conversations. But this is not the end. This is just kind of a farewell for now. I want to do a quick recap on what we went through today. We learned about navigating digital spaces and how we can show up with them with Nikki. We learned how to leverage our superpowers as women and utilize CEO to have success SEO with Gemma to have successful product launches. We've built community through our networking session events. We've talked about clarity, drive, belief, so we can achieve our career goals. And we kind of closed out with like fostering inclusivity in our communities in a remote environment. So thank you all to the speakers who came today. Thank you all for kind of coming, participating, listening in. I just have a few announcements for some upcoming events through the WID network. we have our annual meeting, Keep Championing Diversity. It's happening on August 22nd. We are doing like a super early bird discount, like 60% off, which is crazy. It's gonna be a huge event, like 200 plus people across 40 countries, which is insane. We're gonna have talks, symposiums, networking sessions. So we're currently in the process of confirming the speakers, sponsors, and corporate members. If you or your company want to be a corporate member, please send an email to Esther at WID Network, WIDD network.com. And the day after the Championing Diversity Day, we're actually going to have a network, eat, and drink event, and that one is going to be in person. There's only 10 spots left, but it's just such a good opportunity for you to have face-to-face time with industry leaders, exchange insights, eat some good food, some drinks, and just like really make meaningful connections with people in our community. So we have that on our website, so you can go to www.widnetwork.com/in-person meetup. We also have a LinkedIn interview coming up next month. It's on April 25th. It's a live leadership interview with Diana, and this is going to be on the impact of maternal bias in the workplace and on career progression. Juicy topic. Feel free to follow our LinkedIn to find that session. Be sure to sign up. It's going to be a good one. And then, of course, you know where to find us on the internet, LinkedIn, our website. Stay connected, follow the people that spoke today, and definitely looking forward to meeting more of you guys over the course of these events. Thank you again so much for attending. Thank you for your time, your energy. Thank you to the speakers. Thank you to the WID Network team for putting this all together. I'm a minute over, but thank you again, you guys, for your time, and we will see you next time. Thank you.